Every single night I go to bed, I look at that doorway. You know, I just stare at it, and I picture what I went through.
Only on 5, this 77-year-old woman says she was raped in her West Palm Beach senior living complex.
Now she is sharing the quick decision she made that she says saved her life. News Channel 5's Brian Enton is live at the jail where the suspect is right now. Brian?
Yeah, Kelly, it took 2.5 months for DNA evidence to come back, but James Evans is finally locked up here at the Palm Beach County Jail. We normally don't put victims of this kind of sexual abuse on TV, but she wanted to share her story to explain how she outsmarted this man, a decision she says saved her life. Surrounded by her artwork, this 77-year-old woman woke up in her West Palm Beach senior living apartment and says she saw this stranger standing over her.
He was standing right here, looking at me.
Police say 58-year-old James Evans broke in through an open window and raped her.
I was praying, crying, whining, telling him I was going to pass out. I was weak. He wasn't listening. He was just doing everything he wanted to do.
Police say Evans had a knife. Instead of fighting him, Jeannie tried to use other tactics to get away.
And I pleaded with him to let me get water. And he felt my mouth. And he said, "Will you be a good girl?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You promise?" I said, "Yes." So he let me get up, but he stood right by me as I walked to the kitchen.
Jeannie says she asked Evans if they could sit on the sofa and talk.
At that moment, I started to try to connect with him on an emotional level. I asked him about his family and if he believed in God and what church he went to.
In between the sexual assaults, Jeannie quietly tried to calm Evans down.
But my purpose was to get out and to be alive and to stay alive, because I kept thinking about my grandchildren and my children and how much I wanted to live and how much I had to do in my life. And that's why inside something said to me, just wait it out.
After 2 hours, the wait was over.
And when I watched him walk out the door, I saw the last of his foot go down, out in the hall. I just stood numb against the refrigerator. I went, oh my God, what have I just been through? What has happened here? I was in shock.
She is obviously an incredibly strong woman. The minute Evans left, she immediately called police. He actually took one of her business cards and even called her days later. Police, though, were not able to track that number. All of this, she says, came down to the DNA evidence, which again just came back, which is why he is now locked up. Live at the jail, Brian Enton, WPTV News Channel 5.
This is video of a Metro Detroit man getting off a D-Dot bus in 2015. Just as he gets his bike off the bike rack on the front of the bus driver starts driving and hits him. The driver, Geraldine Johnson, immediately realizes what happened. The passenger, Joey Davis, is killed. Fast forward 8 years, Geraldine Johnson is charged with hitting and killing a pedestrian, Janice Bauer. Johnson was behind the wheel of a D-Dot bus.
So the court does find you to be a danger.
The question everyone is asking, why was Johnson allowed to keep her job as a city bus driver after hitting and killing Joey Davis? Attorney James Harrington represented Davis's family in a lawsuit against the city.
It's absolutely unacceptable, should not be tolerated, and this should have been prevented. She should have been taken off the road after the Joey Davis incident had the city done its job.
The city of Detroit settled that case out of court for $4.5 million, which takes us back to Geraldine Johnson and her driving record in the years following Davis's death.
That there have been crashes either with a bus or your personal vehicle in 2018, 2 in 19, 1 in 20, 1 in 21, 1 in 22. And then we have this matter today.
The city of Detroit declined our repeated requests for an interview, instead choosing to release this statement saying, quote, "Since this terrible accident occurred 2 weeks ago, we have been engaged in a full review of Ms. Johnson's record and of all related departmental policies and procedures. Once that review is completed, we will be better positioned to respond to questions about her driving and employment history with DDOT." Following the accident, Ms. Johnson was terminated.
What we have seen in this case is an absolute failure and a betrayal of trust that we place in government.
Now, we have reached out to Janice Bauer's family. They declined to comment on camera. They say this has been an absolute nightmare for them. Meanwhile, of course, now Geraldine Johnson off the job now, but it will be interesting to see what happens and what the city has to explain as far as why was she able to be working all these years after the Joey Davis incident. And then here we are with another tragedy.
My sister Janice should still be with us here today.
Mark Bauer remembering his sister, 67-year-old Janice Bauer, who was walking to work when she was hit and killed by a DDOT bus in downtown Detroit on June 2nd, 2023.
She had the right of way when she was struck, run over, dragged, and killed by a DDOT bus that was being driven by Geraldine Johnson.
Geraldine Johnson is the driver of that bus, charged with a moving violation causing the death of Janice Bauer, a 1-year misdemeanor. But Johnson had struck and killed another man in 2015 and had numerous crashes between those deadly tragedies.
I was flabbergasted at the driving history.
The judge sentencing Johnson on this day to 6 months in the Wayne County Jail and 2 years probation. But Bauer's family is left with so many questions.
Why were you allowed to continue to drive a bus for the city of Detroit?
Johnson's attorney says it was truly an accident.
This was not an intentional act. It simply was an accident. Ms. Johnson says there are blind spots in the bus and she never saw her.
But Bauer's family says she never should have been behind the wheel of that bus.
I believe that the city of Detroit and Department of Transportation failed my sister and failed the people of Detroit and failed you in allowing you to continue to work despite the accidents that you were involved in.
The Bauer siblings say the sad irony is that Janice didn't even drive and depended on public transportation, even worked for the Smart Bus system helping the disabled.
She wanted to make sure that people with disabilities had access to safe public transportation to their destinations. Janice was all about safe travel.
Now the Bauer family is suing the city, and their attorney says they are working with the city and the union in hopes of seeing policy changes to prevent foreseeable tragedies in the future.
I know you did not do this on purpose. I truly hope you find peace as you move forward from today.
Now, the judge said if Johnson violates any of the conditions of her probation, she will go back to jail for an additional 6 months.
A great-grandmother killed over cash and some pocket change on her 71st wedding anniversary. Tonight, police say they are closing in on their prime suspect. Thank you for joining us at 11. I'm Kristen Hartman.
And I'm Jerry Revish. 89-year-old Anna Mae Eblin was home alone when police say someone entered her house on East 12th Avenue last month. Only on 10 TV, her 91-year-old husband and daughter are sharing their loss for the first time. 10 TV's Danielle Elias live at police headquarters tonight. Danielle, police believe they may know who the killer is?
Yeah, Jerry, the detective working this case tells me that he has a good idea who did it. Now, he says that he is only days away from getting the DNA results, which he believes will crack this case.
They killed her on their 71st wedding anniversary. They got married April 17th, and this person killed her on April 17th. The anniversary cards were still sitting on the TV.
A heartbreaking moment for a daughter and her 91-year-old father.
He's a basket case. I mean, you know, we have our up days, we have our down days. I think we cry just about every day, don't we?
Nearly a month after 89-year-old Anna Mae Eblin was stabbed to death during a home invasion, her killer is still on the loose.
She needed to enjoy her last few years, you know, and not the way it ended.
Linda Sloan says her mother was home alone at the time, but that wasn't the norm.
They were in the house 56 years.
She says her father, Harold Eblin, was in the hospital, and she thinks whoever killed her mother knew it.
He obviously has no soul. I mean, how are you going to slap an 89-year-old woman around and slice her throat for 35 bucks?
That day, the family says it was beautiful weather. They say she was outside feeding her birds and squirrels and had just gone inside for one moment, leaving her gate and back door unlocked. A vulnerable moment in which they say that's when the criminal attacked.
This monster watched her, took advantage of her little lapsed moment there, and killed her.
Flowers now adorn the outside of their house in remembrance of Anna Mae Eblin, a great-grandmother who is dearly missed.
Is there something you want to say to this person? You can't, can you? It's just too much for words. It's too much to put into words how we're feeling.
And such a difficult and emotional time for this family. A family who desperately wants police to find the killer and put him behind bars for a long, long time. Reporting live outside of Columbus Police Headquarters, Danielle Elias, 10 TV News.
Good evening. Welcome to News Leader 9 at 11. I'm Barbara Goche. Thanks for being with us tonight. Jason is off. We start with a Columbus family still searching for answers tonight after their loved one is gunned down at a house party last month. But tonight, the family of Richard Collier says they have renewed hope that the man allegedly responsible for his death will soon be captured thanks to a new reward in the case. Our Arisha Jones sat down with the family earlier today and has more in tonight's top story.
Dawn Boyd says she often finds it hard to function since the loss of her son and was feeling helpless until someone stepped in to help.
Received a call, and this person is anonymous and wishes to remain anonymous, but has donated $5,000 in regards to leading to the arrest of Drayvon Johnson.
Boyd hopes the reward urges someone to give up information on Drayvon Johnson.
We will work with that one person, and we're not concerned with really who they are, but just to get them that money.
Her oldest child, Richard Collier, was shot and killed during a house party May 14th after a fight broke out at a home on Hodges Drive. Columbus police named Drayvon Johnson a suspect in the murder. With
everybody who has reached out to our family, that we can move on to the next chapter, that there be some type of closure, that there be justice. Richard was at home, he was unarmed.
And in case Drayvon Johnson is listening or watching, Boyd has a message she wants to send.
Nobody deserves to go through this. If you just do the right thing, turn himself in, let's get his side of the story.
With 3 other children to care for, Boyd is being comforted by friends and family and remembering the good times she shared with her son. Reporting in Columbus, Arisha Jones for WTVM News
A murder
Leader 9.
case full of twists and turns. It's been making its way through the court system from 6 years ago, coming to a conclusion today. News Leader 9's James Giles explains how this case, which also involves an embattled former DA, played out in court today.
All rise, come to order. Thank you. Please be seated. A 6-year legal roller coaster for the family of the late Richard Collier is over.
This is not the outcome we wanted.
Drayvon Johnson, the man accused of killing the 24-year-old, owns up to shooting Collier at a house party on Hodges Street in Columbus in 2016. His guilty plea comes with 15 years in prison and another 10 on probation. A sentence that does not sit well with Collier's family.
It was communicated to us. Definitely not okay with it.
And that's for a number of reasons, according to Dawn Boyd, Collier's mother. Johnson is pleading guilty to a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter, not murder. Plus, his attorney says he gets credit for time served. He's been in jail for 6 years.
This was best worst case scenario.
Johnson is also pleading guilty to charges he picked up while locked up in the Muskogee County Jail. Possession of a knife or a shank, and for destroying a TV, both felony charges.
At this point, the state is also now represented by competent counsel who know what they are doing in terms of proceeding on this matter.
Another twist to this case, the involvement of former District Attorney Mark Jones, who personally prosecuted this case. It ended up in a deadlocked jury split 8-4, leaning towards Johnson being not guilty due to a lack of evidence and witnesses. You may recall Jones' ethics came into play when it was discovered that he was accused of trying to intimidate a witness related to the investigation. Boyd says what's next for her family is healing. as she remembers her son's legacy.
Now, if we don't have to focus anymore on the defendant and focus now more on Richard's life, celebrating his life.
Since Trayvon Johnson has already served 6 years in jail, he's left with 9 years left to serve in prison. His attorney says he could be eligible for parole in 3.
News today at 5 o'clock as we join you. In the last 15 minutes, we learned some new details about a teenager detained by Bedford police, all related to the death of Caitlin Cargill. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Doug Dunbar.
And I'm Gilma Avalos in for Kaylee O'Kelly. Cargill's family reported her missing in June. She was found dead in an Arlington landfill just days later. Jeff Paul is live in Euless, where he just got his hands on a detention warrant in this case. Jeff?
Yeah, Doug and Gilbert, we're standing right outside the apartment complex where police say all of this sort of went down. We just started pouring through the warrant, which details why police arrested this 16-year-old in the case. Now, we're learning that investigators were told by a witness that Cargill was looking to buy drugs, specifically marijuana, from this 16-year-old. We're also discovering that, according to this warrant, a witness saw Cargill running away from the 16-year-old who was eventually arrested. Now, police also detailed that when they searched the apartment where the 16-year-old was living, they found blood. Those lab tests then later confirmed the blood was Cargill's. Now, we're also, if you further look into this warrant, it details that a hammer was later found by police that had blood on it. Lab tests again came back and confirmed that the DNA on this hammer belonged to Cargill. Now, we're just beginning to look through this warrant. It's very detailed, as you can imagine, and we're hoping to have some more of what we discover in that warrant coming up at 6. Doug and Gilma.
Jeff Paul, thank you very much. Let's take a look back here for a second at the progression of Cargill's case, if you're not familiar with it. Her family had reported her missing back on the 19th of June when she failed to return home. She had gone out simply to walk the dog. At the time, police were treating the case as a runaway, but then we go to the next day, the 20th. Police then alerted the community and all of us in the media. And on the 21st, Cargill's body was then found in the Arlington landfill, which is about 15 minutes or so from her home. It was more than 7 weeks later, though, on August 10th, when the Tarrant County Medical Examiner finally ruled Cargill had died of what they termed homicidal violence. Of course, today we get word, of course, police have detained now the 16-year-old acquaintance in Cargill in relation to her murder. We will continue, of course, to follow the developments in the case, and you can catch up on all of our coverage online. Any new details will be found there as well. Right now, 10 o'clock, remembering Caitlin Cargill after confirmation of her family's worst fears.
Jeff Paul is live in Euless tonight, where dozens came together to honor the 14-year-old's life. Jeff?
Well, Doug and Gilma, at least 100 parents, students, and even some of Cargill's family gathered in a circle right outside this Euless Middle School as they tried to put into words what exactly this teen meant to all of them. Joining their voice in song, there truly are no words that could be uttered to express the pain and grief this crowd feels.
And our goal tonight is to show the family support and know that in the midst of tragedy, there's a whole community supporting you.
Investigators say Cargill disappeared Monday night after walking her dog at the Oak Creek Apartments where she lived. Bedford police at the time treated it as a missing runaway. A body was found on Wednesday at an Arlington landfill, and the medical examiner's office tonight says it was Cargill.
And she was one of the most fun-loving, energetic kids that I had. Lots of friends, everybody who knew her loved her.
As a crowd of family, friends, and parents prayed,
we're looking for answers. We're looking for peace in our hearts.
Many couldn't help but think of what the world has lost.
She wasn't normal. She wasn't standard. She was unique in the best possible way.
Brooke Kirkland knew Cargill.
It just breaks my heart. Nobody deserves this. She had her whole life ahead of her.
Bedford police wouldn't answer any questions, reading word for word from a written press release.
We will pursue every lead, leave no stone unturned, and bring the person or persons responsible for Caitlin's death to justice.
Now, friends have set up a GoFundMe account to help out the Cargill family. If you want to look into that, we have that link on our website. We're also hoping to get some of our many questions answered tomorrow morning. Bedford police set to hold a press conference at 10 a.m. Reporting live here in Euless, I'm Jeff Paul, CBS 11.
The only thing I can say is that you somehow have to find peace. And I thought today would give us peace, and it didn't.
Trisha West has spent almost 5 years grieving the loss of her 14-year-old daughter, Caitlin Cargill.
She was a humanitarian, she was a rock star, she was a softball player.
On June 19, 2017, Cargill left her family's Bedford apartment but never returned.
She was always afraid of the dark, and I knew in that moment when she wasn't home and it got dark that something was wrong.
2 days later, Caitlin's body was found in an Arlington landfill. Police believe she'd been beaten to death with a hammer.
Her body was so contaminated that the only thing they could do was rule a homicide.
The investigation led Bedford Police Department to then 16-year-old Jordan Roche. Investigators say witnesses saw the two together before Cargill disappeared. Police say evidence showed Caitlin arranged to meet up with him to buy marijuana. West says she didn't know anything about him.
I had never met him before. He had never been in my house.
Police say they found a claw hammer along with Cargill's blood inside of an apartment in another part of the same complex that Roche shared with his girlfriend. They determined her body had been put in a dumpster at the complex, and that's how it ended up in the landfill. Roche was arrested in September 2017, but the case was moved out of juvenile court in 2018 when he was certified to stand trial as an adult. On Thursday, Roche pleaded guilty to killing Cargill and was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
In my opinion, that's a huge injustice.
Roche did not address the court or offer any details about the murder.
There was no remorse in his eyes, and there never has been from the very beginning.
It's unclear why it took so long for the Tarrant County DA's office to reach a plea agreement, but Bedford police say the case faced several delays, including the pandemic. West read a statement in court leaning on the words from the book of Corinthians.
For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil.
West committed to remembering her daughter with a memorial garden in Hearst and a motorcycle ride each June in Caitlin's honor.
I live because she can't, so we do.
Now, Bedford PD and the Tarrant County DA's office declined to speak on camera, but Police Chief Jeff Williams released a statement saying, in part, this day has been a long time coming, and we're grateful for the hard work and countless hours spent by Bedford officers. He went on to say the Cargill family remains in our thoughts as we reach the conclusion of this tragic case.
A Milwaukee man is charged for the gruesome death of a Froedtert Hospital nurse practitioner.
Carly Bowden was killed early Friday morning in a hospital parking lot. Our Aaron Maben explains the suspect also once worked at that hospital.
Loved ones say Carly Bowden had a passion for helping others. The 33-year-old worked as a nurse practitioner at Froedtert Hospital. A promising life and career cut short Friday, January 25th.
Carly was a remarkably warm and compassionate human being.
Carly's husband, Nick, talked with Fox 6 just 2 days after her death.
Our family is suffering in its tragedy, and we're going to get through it in our time.
Prosecutors have charged Kenneth Freeman with Bowden's brutal death. Prosecutors say surveillance shows a 27-year-old knocking Bowden to the ground before kicking or stomping her in the head and neck almost 40 times. A criminal complaint says he then put her in her own vehicle and drove it to another parking structure in the complex where he left the vehicle and the body. She was discovered underneath the car, bleeding and frozen to the ground. We've learned Freeman worked as a valet on the campus for much of 2018 up until October. He was fired for a nonviolent issue. In a statement to Fox 6, the hospital said in part, "Safety is our top priority. We have made security enhancements and we will continue to make improvements." Prosecutors say Freeman called 911 shortly after the murder to say he killed Bowden. In custody, he allegedly told officer he did it deliberately and Purely.
Freeman is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. It's still not known why Bowden was targeted.
Troublemaker accused of brutally shoving a woman on a subway platform is now accused of the same crime in Queens. Police say 23-year-old Isaiah Thomas violently pushed this woman so hard she went headfirst into a train in Brooklyn. Cops say he shoved another strap hanger that same day early in the morning. Eyewitness News reporter Diana Rocco has details from downtown Brooklyn. Diana?
And Sade, that video is pretty disturbing to watch. While Isaiah Thompson is awaiting arraignment here in Brooklyn, police may now be looking at him for more than one assault tonight. He is charged with shoving that woman on the platform in Brooklyn on Wednesday. Well, tonight police believe he did commit another assault earlier in the day, and they say he has been terrorizing subway riders for the better part of 2 years. Take a look at this video. This is the push that Thompson is now charged and in custody for. Police say this is him on video harassing people waiting for the train in Brooklyn Wednesday night. Then he shoves this woman into the train where she hits her head. Now police believe he pushed a 58-year-old man on a platform in Jamaica, Queens, in a similar style assault earlier in the day. Thompson was last arrested in August for subway surfing. He's also been arrested for pulling emergency brakes on subway cars, tying up rush hour for hours. Previous arrests include stabbing a man on a platform and exposing himself. Tonight, the governor says it is time. This serial subway menace is banned from the transit system.
This situation pre-existed our criminal justice reforms, which are just going to affect now. This has been getting worse over the past few years. So they're two totally different situations. And I think a judge should have the ability to say, enough. I mean, how many sexual assaults do you get before we come to our senses and we say no more?
Thompson is expected to be arraigned later this evening. The charges include assault, reckless endangerment, and criminal trespassing, but it appears the list of charges may be growing.
Cumberland police say they are looking for your help in solving a double murder. A woman came home yesterday and discovered her son and granddaughter killed. Police say someone shot them to death. 6 News reporter Ebony Monet has the story.
What could a 7-year-old have done? I just can't fathom. Did she walk in and see something? We don't know. There's no answers here.
With pain showing on their faces, the family of Cumberland's latest murder victims spoke out.
I never in a million years thought I would ever be in this position. And I can't describe the feelings that are running through me.
Cumberland police say Monday someone shot and killed Jeremy Crane and his 7-year-old niece, Kylie. Jeremy's mother found their bodies when she came home early to check on them.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone's family. What we're going through right now, we're going to remember every Christmas. Every Christmas. I don't want a Christmas tree. I don't want to live here. I won't walk into this house again.
Kylie's family says the first grader danced competitively, was active in cheerleading, and loved spending time with her Uncle Jeremy.
They were going to play video games until I got off work. And she was sitting there smiling, watching cartoons on my floor.
Police say with no signs of forced entry, no motive or suspects, officers are turning to the community.
Police say officers have gone door to door, making contact with neighbors, and so far it hasn't generated any substantial leads. That's why they've made these flyers announcing a $1,000 reward, hoping it plus the holiday spirit will encourage people to come forward. You can't hide, and eventually you will get caught. If you have any kind of heart, please, if you know anything, please come forward.
And police are appealing as well, are asking anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers at 262.
We're learning more details about what happened after the double murders last week in Cumberland. 2 men accused of committing the crimes appeared before a judge this morning. Formal charges have not been filed, and prosecutors have 72 hours to get that done. 6 News reporter Derek Thomas was in court this morning. He joins us now live from the newsroom. Derek?
Chris, each defendant had his own hearing. They were kept apart, and the hearings were very quick. The judge simply advised them of their rights. Michael, why did you hurt your friend and a 7-year-old? Are you sorry about what happened? 22-year-old Michael Bell didn't speak to me, but he talked to police. He is pointing the finger at co-defendant 25-year-old Jeremy Priel, and Priel is pointing the finger at him. 21-year-old Jeremy Crane and his 7-year-old niece Kylie suffered fatal gunshot wounds to the head. What is the prosecution's opinion of who actually did these murders?
I can't address that other than to say the fact that two charged defendants might point the finger at one another would not be surprising.
Who do you think did?
I can't answer that question at this point.
But surveillance camera video taken from an Indigo bus that Bell and Priel boarded after the murders provides insight. According to the probable cause affidavit, Priel is observed in the bus video attempting to wipe his fingerprints off a gun. Additionally, a cell phone, an Xbox, and a PlayStation 3 were missing from the house where the murders occurred. In the court documents, a witness said they purchased the PlayStation for Priel for $40 and bought the Xbox for an ounce of marijuana. The witness said the PlayStation appeared to have blood on it. When he began to hear news coverage about the murders on TV, he became suspicious and contacted police. The initial hearing for the pair is set for Thursday. Sources tell us Bell is on suicide watch, but the sheriff's department would not confirm that. When someone is on suicide watch, they are placed in a special cell, and deputies check on them every 15 minutes.
We are learning much more about the family friend accused of killing a 7-year-old girl and her uncle, as family members today continue to ask just why did he do it. 21-year-old Jeremy Crane and 7-year-old Kylie were shot to death last week inside their home in Cumberland. Eyewitness News reporter Emily Longnecker spoke with the family today. Emily?
And Kylie Crane's mother asked us to talk to the one person who so far has said nothing about all of this, the one person who's just old enough to understand people he loves are never coming back and why. The one person Kylie's mother thinks will be the most affected by all of this, Kylie's little brother, Braden.
But why would you do such a thing?
That's the question 5.5-year-old Braden Crane has for this man, 22-year-old Michael Bell.
You loved me entirely. You used to play with us. You was nice to us.
Now Bell and this man, 25-year-old Jeremy Priel, are behind bars, accused of murdering Braden's sister Kylie and his 21-year-old uncle Jeremy. The Crane family says they don't know Priel, but Bell was once like family to them. The 22-year-old was Jeremy Crane's best friend and trusted by Kylie and Braden.
He was our uncle, too. He was one of our uncles.
My kids talked about him all the time. I heard Uncle Mike, Uncle Mike, Uncle Mike. Kylie would color him pictures and, you know, he'd play with them.
According to the Cranes, Jeremy and Bell went to Warren Central High School together, played football together, and Bell even lived with the Cranes up until about 2 months ago when he lost his job and abruptly took his stuff and left.
I mean, nobody really knows. He never really said why he left. He just left.
The Cranes say when Bell was charged with rape and went to trial in 2007, Jeremy was at the trial every day supporting his best friend. Now the family waits to hear what the man who was once Jeremy's best friend and Priel told police about the day Jeremy and Kylie died. For little Braden Crane, who's just old enough to understand his sister and uncle are never coming back and why, there are not enough answers to the one question he wants to ask Michael Bell, a man he once loved and trusted.
Why did you do that?
Tonight, a man is behind bars after a shooting near a pizza place in St. Bernard. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Courtney King. Officers say the victim has non-life-threatening injuries. And Fox 19 Now reporter Morgan Parrish spoke with a woman who says her grandson is the victim. This is an interview you only see here on Fox 19 Now. Morgan, what does she have to say?
Hey, Courtney, good evening. That's right. Well, Stella Jones tells me her grandson, Tyler Jones, has a long road to recovery ahead of him. But right now, she just says she's thankful for the community support as well as donations that will help with his medical expenses and his road to recovery.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I couldn't believe it. Was the ambulance guy that actually called me and said that he just got shot. So I jumped out of bed, got dressed, went down to the hospital, and stuff. And it's just like, that's just something you never hear of.
On May 9th, St. Bernard police responded to Vine Street near McClellan Avenue for a report of a person shot. Police say it happened near a Pizza Hut. Officers say they found one victim suffering from a gunshot wound, who was then transported to UC Medical Center. Stella Jones says the victim is her grandson.
Oh my God, I don't know of anybody that personally I know. I see it on TV all the time, but to know personally, I never heard of anybody get shot. And it was my oldest grandson. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just crazy.
St. Bernard police and the SWAT team arrested 24-year-old Jaleel Bean days later and charged him with aggravated robbery and felonious assault in connection to the shooting.
And he goes, "Grandma, why did this happen to me?" And I said, "Well, don't worry about what happened. Let's just move on to the next step in your life, and it'll get better." You know, that's all you can do.
A GoFundMe created says Tyler Jones was senselessly shot in the abdomen and sustained major internal injuries. Tyler's grandmom says he's currently still hospitalized and has a long and painful recovery ahead of him. However, the support from those closest to him is what's keeping Stella in good spirits.
A lot of people that just cares about us, and it just makes you feel really warm and toasty inside. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow. So, but I just want him to come home, get back to his life instead of, you know, dwelling on what happened in the past. Right. Just keep it going straight.
So Stella tells me that Tyler is in welding school and he's also a driver here at this Pizza Hut. She says hopefully he gets out of the hospital soon. And also right now the cause of the shooting is still under investigation. We know that there's still a lot of questions that need answers. So as soon as we get some new details, we'll be sure to bring you the latest. Courtney.
First at 10 tonight, a Clarksville neighborhood says it's living a nightmare it can't wake up from. Today they learned their 67-year-old neighbor was killed in an almost unspeakable crime.
Tonight, Chad Mills reveals why those neighbors and Clarksville police believe a complete stranger is to blame.
This Clarksville subdivision is the type of place where neighbors know each other. They talk to each other and even the people who pass through. But they tell me that will have to change now because of what happened right here.
Super depression. I can't get her off my mind.
Don Miller is in a nightmare he just can't escape.
I'm just in a lull. And so it's just so sad.
Clarksville police say his neighbor, 67-year-old Melody Gambetti, who was killed earlier this week in a gruesome act inside her home, a home Miller rented to her.
She was a lovely person. Everybody liked her, liked to speak to her, liked to talk to her.
Police say they discovered her mutilated and decapitated remains Tuesday when the apartment was set on fire. Then they say it was neighbors like Miller who led them to the suspect.
Well, the suspect come to my door looking for work as a community service. He had told other people that he had got out of jail and was doing this community service and was looking for work.
Police say a phone number Brian Williams gave one of the neighbors led them to him, and another neighbor's surveillance video gave detectives enough to arrest Williams, because they say that video showed Williams leaving Gambetti's apartment with luggage they later discovered contained some of her body parts.
We believe that this was probably a botched robbery or home invasion, and it just went bad.
Now, through depression, neighbors like Miller try to move forward.
Something like that something should not happen. It shouldn't happen.
Their neighbor is gone, their way of life shattered.
And somebody comes to your door, don't open it, and just talk to them through the door. Don't let them in your house, because you don't know if they can overpower you or not, or what their real motives are.
Williams has been charged with murder and arson. He is being jailed without bond. In Clarksville, Chad Mills, WTRB
The man
News.
who brutally killed a Clarksville woman in her own apartment. He's been sentenced to 55 years in prison.
Brian Montez Williams will spend at least the next 5.5 decades behind bars. Web News reporter Sean Bowdy was in the courtroom where the defense was asking for leniency and a warning. The details of this crime, they are disturbing.
Brian Williams was found guilty in the 2021 murder of Melody Gambetti at her Clarksville apartment. Williams killed her in a botched robbery, cut off her head and put her body parts in a suitcase, went back the next day to set the apartment on fire. In a plea deal with the state, Williams faced anywhere from 45 to 55 years in prison.
He may never get out of prison. If he does, it may be where he's in his 80s or 90s.
We heard from several of Williams' family members as witnesses from the defense. One thing we didn't hear inside the courtroom was from the family of Melody Gambetti, who say it would have been just too hard for them to be there.
Because of the nature of the facts of this case, what he did to her, I think it was difficult for them to attend the court hearings and have to relive the details of what she went through.
Prosecutor Jeremy Mull argued Williams needed to be behind bars as long as possible. The defense argued that an untreated schizophrenia diagnosis is partially to blame. But if treated, he could finish his sentence and return to society.
Crash
it's hard to say somebody doesn't deserve some sort of cheese.
The defense also talked to a psychiatrist who worked with Williams.
I don't think it's probable that he would ever commit a violent crime again, because really, this is the only violent act we've ever know of.
The judge ruled to side with the longer sentence.
It is my belief that protection of society requires you to be removed from society for a period of time, but at this time the court does hereby sentence you to a 55-year term of imprisonment.
In Jeffersonville, Sean Bowdy, Wave News.